Hi everybody and welcome to Blind Woman Reviews. This is where I, a totally blind woman, review mainly fiction, and today we're going to just review a bit of a small little snippet of a story, kind of, because it's a really short story, and that is The Tailor by Leigh Bardugo. This takes place in the Grishaverse trilogy, or Shadow and Bone trilogy, and this is kind of a scene. This is a bit. This kind of takes place after a scene that that happens in the first book, Shadow and Bone. So a bit of minor spoilers for that book right now. So some spoilers for this book because I cannot review this snippet of a scene without doing a little bit of spoilers for Shadow and Bone. So if you don't want to hear any type of spoilers, this is your cue to go. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm going now to spoil. So basically, we meet this character. I'm kind of not sure how to pronounce her name because I heard it both Genya and Jenya. So I kind of like Jenya, so we're gonna go with Jenya. Because the first thing I heard. Jenya is basically a Grisha, and she is what they call a tailor. So basically, she can design. She can be a fabricator, but she can also design things, and she can make a person really pretty, like really very beautiful. That's her ability. Like she can definitely fabricate things and make people beautiful. And she was given by the Darkling as a gift to the Queen. And by the way, this book, the Tailor will also have spoilers, as so spoilers for all this. And basically, she was given as a gift to the Queen, and she basically has this basically she has this her this duty to basically just like make the queen look really beautiful and basically take care of the queen, um and all that stuff, and basically help her with all that stuff. And she um was also sent by the Darkling to help um Alina, you know, get ready, as well as help her through the court and everything. And she ends up befriending Alina, and they become friends. 1802. Further notification 2. Content beyond the screen. Thank you guys. Thank you. Oh, both of you spoke at great times. Aylin, Sarah, thank you. Yeah, just in case you don't know, this is what I name my iPad and phone. Um, what was I saying? Oh, right. So they become good friends. This specific scene takes when this kind of starts out. It is written. It's basically takes place when Alina asks Jenya to look into Mal's whereabouts to find out if he is like if he is if he's still alive, or if he's in the because she's been checking the casualty list but doesn't see him, because she's been sending letters, and he has not responded back to them. So this is where we find her point of view, as she kind of struggles because she's her friend, she's Alina's friend and everything. And she does talk to the Darkling, shows the paper, and we find out that Jenya has been taking the letters, and like a servant would bring them, and it would be given to her, and they would in turn be given to the Darkling, and the letters were not posted, so he never received any letter. So Mal never received any letters. This was in an attempt to keep Alina from her old life, and keep her, and basically to establish some control, for the Darkling to establish some control. And here we also find out some interesting things about Jenya herself, because as she was given to the Queen, the Queen apparently really loved her. It's almost like she was the Queen's pet. She would praise her. She would be with the queen and her ladies, describing, they would talk about fashionable books. She was basically she was basically in the queen's inner circle and everything. But then out of like and she had the queen's affection. But then I don't know where the queen basically would basically just put her in didn't get she eventually stopped giving her that affection and became cold toward her. The queen would also like give her, for example, new gowns, take her to parties. That didn't happen anymore. She had a uniform where she was giving the Grisha kefta, I think is what it's called, and that was when the queen kind of became colder and all that stuff, and she became, yeah, that was one of those things. She became colder, and this became an excuse, and this was when the king would go to her door and use it as an excuse in a way to by the way, content warning here, but basically in a way I interpreted it, but content warning in case you enjoyed this way too. I interpreted it as rape, so I'm giving you a content warning of rape / sexual assault. But he took it as an excuse to forcefully, press her up against the wall and do pretty much what he wanted. And we also find out that the queen knew, and throughout the books, it is noted that the king has a reputation for cornering servant girls. So there is, although it isn't fully mentioned, it is implied that there is sexual assault. So when you read for any part of these books, just know that that it is implied. And so we see that, and we see her kind of struggle just a little bit before, and we also see how she became to be the Darkling soldier. She finally got tired, and she just wanted, she basically went to get the Darkling's help, and he offered her safe passage out of Ravka or into safety, or that she could be his greatest soldier, and that her suffering would be paid back a lot more. So she basically ends up becoming the Darkling soldier, and she ends up in turn betraying Alina. It was an interesting snippet to read. I don't feel like it's necessary to get through the trilogy, but it was definitely interesting. It was actually a bonus material in the audiobook I read, and the Bard audiobook I read for Siege and Storm. So I found it to be really interesting to read, as well as very insightful toward Jenya's point of view. I thought it was an interesting scene. It's definitely not necessary, but it was interestingly written. I would have loved more about Jenya's life, which is actually the reason I gave it 4 stars, not to mention the reason it didn't feel like 5 stars. I would have loved for it to be just a little bit longer so that we knew more about her, where she came from, and maybe actually be shown more things about her life. I think would have been interesting. So if you enjoyed this sort of spoilery, convoluted type of review, let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about the Tailor. Give a like if you enjoyed this content, and subscribe. I post frequently, and I'll see you Friday for another reaction. Bye.
Voiceover unmuted.
Oh.
Enter passwords. QuickTime 08. Show captured device. Stop recording.